Please go ahead.
Okay. Hi all. I'm Eetu Paloheimo, and a little bit background. I have been working with e-commerce, mostly with e-gambling, something like 10 years. I feel most at home at conversation optimization, UX, and analytics. I have also dipped my toes into a digital marketing, CRM, and all kind of necessary evils that comes with this. Working 10 years in a Finnish gambling monopoly doesn't give much experience of giving public speaks in English, so I'm actually quite horrified at the moment. But let's see how this goes. I'm going to talk a little bit first about the statics behind of our web store, a little bit what we are actually selling, and then a little bit of propaganda slides. Then I'm actually telling the story at the 3 steps what we have been doing with the personalization, starting with the business rule thing, showing different kind of banners, then going a little bit deeper with the machine learning, and then building your own machine learning software over there and competing algorithms with together, and what we have learned from there. I'm not so sure if I'm going to talk anything about UX, but maybe you can pick something up from there. So a little bit of Veikkaus.fi. We have actually now at this moment over 2 million customers. I'm always at these kind of situations saying that we are the biggest e-commerce site in Finland, and at least nobody hasn't yet objected me, so I'm still saying it. At last year we made 499 million of profit and a little bit over 1 billion of sales. There is every week 550,000 paying customers in Google Analytics or web data terms. It's something like 1.5 million visitors and 5 million sessions per week. And our what we have been doing is conversation optimization over there. So our conversation statics are quite unbelievable. Our session conversion is something from 34 to 36%, and our weekly conversions are almost 46%. So it's working. But today I'm talking most about personalization, and it's just a small part of our whole web progress, what we are doing. So, but I'm focusing on that. So what we are actually selling. These are our main products at the moment. At this year we had this huge fusion together. Finnish Slot Machine Association, Veikkaus, and Finns merger together. So we have been this year mostly building the stuff from the scratch up again. We have built over 100 plus, over responsive, over page, over this new application, over and application base, launched our base. Learned based personalization software personalization and to get that knowledge and to get product is immaterial. We don't have to play with the logistics and stuff like this. We are basically selling this just online. And if here are people who are not familiar with Veikkaus, it's Finnish social innovation. This is my propaganda slide. That we are giving all the profit for the state and they are giving all the good all the causes for the sporting, giving arts and art and all the for that and it's for the it's all the all the reason for that for me all the to work all the skin here instead of all the here in private all the here in doing the same things. Okay, so now towards the personalization. So here are some of our premises for the personalization. Most of our customers who are arriving at Veikkaus.fi already know what they are going to do. Almost 70% of our traffic is direct traffic, 20% is organic traffic, and then the 10% is from marketing and CRM and campaigns like that. So most of the people already know what they are coming to do in there. So what we try to do in our UX side, and there is actually Ville sitting there who is the lead of our UX and can say if I'm wrong, but we try to make the first action what the player is what he wants to do, we try to make it as easy as possible. And after that, we start kind of like, would you be interested about this? And the bad example of like giving the extra products. But we are also doing that on kind of like UX said. We are not just like showing you the banners, what you should see there. Our current business case with the personalization is something 30 to 40 million extra sales per year. And I believe that after a couple of years, that's really much more, but we are still kind of like at the start of the things. So it was actually really nice that Timo was here talking beforehand. We started with the personalization, I would say something like 5-6 years ago, and at that time we had a really horrible situation at Veikkaus. We couldn't, for example, from the front end, we didn't have capabilities to bring code to a production by ourselves. We didn't have a graphical interface in a CMS. We were hardly able to get like the analytics tags inside in there and stuff like that. And the guys from the Frosmo walked it actually in, and they were still really small company at that time. I think there was just like the founders and a couple of other guys. And we were actually really glad that, look, there is a tool where you can just inject JavaScript to everywhere. Yeah, let's start to play with this. And we started to play with it and started to create these kind of like groups over there that if you are a sports player, we show you some sport content. If you are a lotto player, we show you some lotto content and so on. But unfortunately, we didn't get any like extra euros with this kind of like content showing probabilities in. And we were just like, are we doing this badly? And we tried something like many years to do it, no, not many years, many months to do it a little bit better. Then we started to tap with the UX and started to have results over there. But kind of when we did this a little bit longer, I think at some point there started to be like hundreds of these rules in the production. Joni, who is sitting also at the behind of there, was kind of mastermind behind of this. But there were, for example, rules. If you are a sports player, you have over €5 at your account, you are coming at the site at the Saturday at 5 o'clock. And it just started to get so messed up and so complex that especially people from the analytics were saying that we don't know anymore like what affects to what kind of event has he had there. And we just couldn't scale it because we would have been scaling just the people making the rules. So we started to think that, okay, there has to be a little bit smarter way to do this. And we had a huge like request for proposals around, and all the big players sent their requests, but they were all kind of like these kind of like huge, massive monolith projects, and we were just like got the code in our own hands, got the UX on our own hands, got the analytics on our own hands. We didn't want to start like 2 years projects where we just define everything. We wanted to do stuff and wanted to do A/B testing. So actually then at the end of the request for proposals round, we just noticed that there wasn't any product for us, but also it would be too expensive to build it our own. Then, by luck, we found from the internet, you can find stuff from the internet these days, we found a small company from a States called Conductrix, which was kind of, their product was IE in a box. Okay, I'm speaking a little bit like layman terms here, we are speaking of machine learning, but I'm using IE quite easily in here. So it was a great product for us. We could just like push features, content and context and calls in there, and it would give us decisions. It had good like JSON REST APIs there, and we could just like ask, give us these kind of decisions and show this kind of stuff. And it really worked. It made something like 25 million extra sales per year, and we even like when I like finally became like full believer in this kind of like machine learning approach was when we did a test with this that we gave Conductrix that it could make like the 50% of the decisions. Then our product managers were doing 20% of the decisions, 20% of the people were having random choices, and 10% were control group. And even the random choices beat human choices over there, and we tried it a couple of times. So it's just, we humans, we are not very good with like big data masses and making choices in there. So, but anyways, it started to get a little bit problematic inside of the organizations, as this is kind of like our strategic work, and we were saying that, yeah, we have this kind of like black box IE that is making our decisions. That people were somehow not very happy with this answer. Of course, we reverse engineer it quite well, so we actually had kind of idea what's happening behind of it. But it started to be a little bit like organization political problem. at there. And at the same time, our IT started a project where they started to build this kind of like big data environment, Hadoop and Kafka and all the cool stuff. And we were thinking about like, yeah, cool, okay. Now it wouldn't be like so hard to build it ourselves, that this is quite an easy task. And then we decided that, okay, we are going to build our own like machine learning software. And well, we did, and we ran it in production for 2 months with the Conduxys product, and we were also already at the same level. And now it's in the production, and it's really great. Like we can use our own data. There is 700 features from the customers. We can A/B test algorithms together. We can A/B test like this kind of algorithm with this kind of like things are making this kind of decisions and stuff like that. It's amazing, but we are still in the start. We have something like 9 cases in a production, but like, and also the other reason why we choose was because we were doing this at the website, but we also wanted to get the digital marketing and the CRM, like sending emails and SMS, into the same machine learning truth than everything else. And with the Conductor setup, we felt that we couldn't do it at the moment with the digital marketing. Like the top line is the human-made rules, and the middle line is our own machine learning. We call it Sense. And the downline is our brand marketing at the moment, but it's still like at the digital marketing, we are still not as good as in a web shop. We are still like training that part in there. But I'm also quite fast speaker when I'm nervous, but I try to slow down a little bit because we are going to an end soon. Yeah, taking a time in there. So as I was saying that it's easy to build it. This is from our planning board that when we were building our own solution, like the customer is there a pointer there? Yeah, customer is over there. And this is like everything else. So it wasn't so easy as we thought. And especially we are building this in our own servers. It would be much easier to like use cloud-based solutions on it. But I would say that this is only like tech. Tech can always be solved if you have like enough of patience and enough of money and enough of like good people working on it. But I also had like a small dip with my career in a consulting, and also Timo was speaking about this, and I'm always saying that very often in these kind of cases, like you, for example, you have this kind of like massive data warehouse environment, and then you are collecting data, but you are not actually like doing anything with it. It's really often you go into an organization and you have like marketing over there and all you have to doing the same. And sitting you have looking over there and then for a warehouse and from the legacy something from the like something IT no, but it's actually like working together sitting on the same. Sitting like doing something, yeah, like doing something, like the real business cases, like the real business, the business, basic A/B testing and taking for warehouse and for business, we taking for business decisions with kind of like data sets that, yeah, there is over 1,000 data points over here, like let's just make it. But I would say that it's much better like start with the small cases, start with the small data and just like build a culture for kind of like continuous testing and then go a little bit forward. If you just like dive into a deep end immediately, then I believe that the company culture, at least in the big companies, is going to hit you at some point in there. And what was also a good point, I don't remember who was saying it, but was that when you have capabilities to personalize, so you start to add layers to a layer, layers, and to a layer. You get suddenly you get like business there where just like business, everything is business thing is business that you should be really careful like not going over the step and not forget like customer from there, and because you can also like just remove things, and you can also personalize things that you are, for example like taking elements away from there that they are not seeing stuff on a web page, and it's as good test as like adding something more. And that was it. I have a couple of cases, but if you have any questions, I could answer those first.
We actually have so much time that if you have something else to present, please go ahead. I think everyone's just dying to hear more of it.
Okay, so this is what we are having kind of like different algorithms that we are trying at the moment. This is not actually, as you would say, like machine learning per se. This is not using any kind of like contextual information. This is kind of like we are just trying with the front page to maximize CTR, like click-through rate, how much are the banners affecting in there. And it doesn't take anything from your personal data. It just shows most of the times most popular banners that people are clicking at that time. And it randomly tests different options in there. I think there is in a rotation something like 10 cases at the moment. And then it adapts, like if it sees that the people are starting to rotate towards something else, it starts to show those. But it's kind of like continuous A/B testing that's going on all the time. And there is actually interesting research in this field that most of the time this kind of like approach is as good as kind of like contextual approach in there. But we are now changing all the algorithms at the moment towards this. And this is, for example, in our e-instant catalog at the moment. And the goal is simply more sales at the moment, and it's using customers' demographic features and previous gaming history in there. What we had in challenges in there, if we optimize for the amount of gaming, then we just like show really small stakes of the games that people are taking something like 20 cents of game all the time. If we are like optimizing towards amount of euros, then it shows only with the high stakes. So we have to have kind of like tweaking the algorithm a little bit and counting the attributes from the middle. But it comes very often to these kind of situations that when you start with something and you set up the goal, you notice at the end that your goal has been actually, you have been setting it all wrong from the start. And it's kind of like, even if you have this in a production, you need the people to be checking out like what you are actually doing in there. And then we are having a third model in digital marketing, which we are so it's not doing so great at the moment, but we are still tweaking it. We are buying everything at the digital market, 100% of programmatic buying. So we are having like digital marketing desk inside of Veikkaus at the moment. So we can also put the algorithms in there. And now we are starting when we have replaced our old CRM, we start to put it also in there.
Thank you, Eetu. So one of the reasons why I decided to invite this business to one of those